Commissioner Watts? Okay, I'd like to call this special commission meeting to order. It's Wednesday, August 24th. It's at 6:30. Madam Clerk?
6:44. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Coviello?
Here.
Vice Mayor Ross? Here. Commissioner Jonas? Commissioner Watts?
Yes.
And Commissioner Anderson?
Here. Okay. Everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. Okay, welcome everyone to this evening's meeting, and then we'll have a budget workshop afterwards. So I'd like to open the meeting, and any additions, deletions, or withdrawals? Okay. Anything from the commission? No. Okay. All right, we'll move into public comment. We will have a public comment period when we open the budget workshop, so you could, if you'd like, you could speak to the item that's on this agenda, which is the employment agreement with the proposed new manager. Yeah, turn that up.
Good evening. My name is Dan Samari. I live at 1030 Northeast 121st Street. I would like to make a suggestion in reference to the probation period for the new village manager and the contract being offered. The contract now being offered states that she will have 6-month probation period. I would ask the commission to consider increasing it to 9 months because there will be a new commissioner after the November election. That they will only be given, people will only be given 3 months for that probation period.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Anyone else? None? Okay.
No, that's all right.
Okay, you sure?
Yep.
All right. All right, we'll close the public comment period, and Mr. City Attorney, do you want to introduce the item and then perhaps go through the changes in the agreement?
Yeah, yes, Mayor, my pleasure. This is a resolution, 2016-29, which is a resolution of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, authorizing the mayor to execute the employment agreement between the Village of Biscayne Park and Sharon Ragunan, appointing Sharon Ragunan as village manager of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, providing for an effective date. And I spoke with Sharon. She is coming to the budget meeting tonight. She's hopefully to get here a little earlier than that as well. She's still in Fort Lauderdale. Well, when I talked to her today, she's still working in Fort Lauderdale. So what's before you is the contract. As I understood, the commission agreed to it. A lot of it was very clear between Andrew Dunkiel, who was here, and Maria. There was an issue of sick and vacation and PTO, what the choice of this commission was, and I'll walk you through that. What I do have from Andrew, and I showed some of you, is the actual meeting, and it looks dark for all of you out there because it was dark, and this is from the iPhones you were using, and there was unfortunately no recording. So if anything is wrong, this is why we have the hour to make sure what we have is what this commission intended. In addition, I sent both the agreements to Sharon. She agreed with any and all changes that you made from her proffer. As you recall, we gave her a contract. She proffered several changes. Some you accepted, some you did not, some you amended. And with everything that was changed, she has no issue with. She prefers the PTO, and she had requested 30 days of that personal time off, PTO's personal time off. The commission agreed to 24 days. She sent an email, which I sent to Maria, and she provided to you, which she was requesting it to go to 28 days. So that's her request. She did not in the email say that that was a deal breaker at all, but that was her request. So having said all that, I can start with walking through the changes. And I think the first one is the PTO. That has section 12, that's not the vacation and sick combined with personal time off, which is different than what our policies say, but I know there has been discussions that that may be where this commission wants to move towards with the employees as well. Whether or not you do, you can make that separate agreement with the manager as she has an actual agreement. Okay? So the employment agreement, the duties are the same as was proffered. You know, basically talks about this is not an hourly job and you have to work until the job gets done. It's within reason. The term of the agreement is going to start 2 weeks following the execution of this agreement. It was September 1st or 2 weeks, but if you look at the map now, it would be 2 weeks from today, or whenever she starts. I think you'll be fine with at this point. The agreement is considered a 3-year agreement, and that's the same thing that our previous manager had. I know that a lot of managers ask for it to be 3 years, but in reality, your agreement is only as long as your termination clause. So why it's 3 years, it's really, it's not as if there can't be a termination by either party within the 3-year period. So that's important to remember. The previous agreement, the previous village manager had asked that after an election, there be after the first election, there be 90 days in which no action could be taken concerning the manager. Sharon was not worried about that and didn't feel she needed that, so there's no 90-day period in which no action could be taken as to the manager if need be. After this 3-year period, it ends on September 1st, 2019, the agreement continues. So it doesn't end, and that's why it's really not a true 3-year agreement. It continues unless until action is taken. You'll see that says section 5 or 6. We've changed that to 6 and 7 to be accurate because we made some changes. And Maria has that corrected copies. There was a request, there's a new section actually called Exclusive Employment and Outside Consulting Teaching, in which the previous manager could only do pro bono work. In this case, Sharon has asked for, and this commission, as I understand it, has agreed that she could do other work if it is approved prior by this village commission. So for that to work, it would have to come in front of this commission at a public meeting to get your approval. So it'd be very open, and sometimes that would work, and I think this is, it says it in here, there are indirect benefits to the village, depending on what type of work she might do that could actually be helpful to the village. So that's in there as an option. The salary you originally proffered was $80,000. She had asked for more, and the number that was agreed to by this commission was $84,000. So that change has been made. Sharon has asked that she be evaluated not only annually, but after the first 180 days of the agreement, and that's been put in there. At the time of any of her evaluations, the commission is to consider any potential increases in the manager's salary, benefits, and allowances. Okay, so that has been agreed to, as I understand it, from the previous meeting.
Mary, is it possible to put this up on the screen?
Section 6 is termination by the village and severance pay. And this is, again, although it's a 3-year agreement, if there is a termination, that can be done at any time, and this outlines that. So if the manager is terminated in the first 90 days, there's absolutely no severance. If it's between 91 and 180 days, the village manager would be entitled to a severance pay equal to 2.5 weeks. Between 180 and 365 days, the village manager would be entitled to severance pay equal to 5 weeks. And then for each year thereafter, the village manager shall be entitled to 5 additional weeks. So basically what happens, and that caps up out at 20 weeks, and that's consistent with state law. On contracts entered into after, I believe it's July 2011, the severance pay cannot go beyond 20 weeks. So that is agreed to, as I understand it. We changed this, if she's terminated, she would be entitled to her personal time off that has been accrued and unused. Section 7 is termination by the village manager, and that simply switching that from 60 days to 30 days. And I think the experience that I've had, and experience that even this commission has had, that 60 days is too long a time anyway if a manager's leaving. The automobile allowance it's $400 per month. There was an addition. The amount may be increased from time to time by the village commission. There's no requirement. It just simply allows for that to happen. The cell phone allowance that was proffered by the village originally was $40. I believe the previous manager actually was $140, just factually, and she requested and you agreed to $100 a month. Dues and subscriptions are basically consistent with the prior manager, except it also includes Miami-Dade City County Management Association. Professional development, there was an addition. So basically what it says, so everybody knows, it agrees to pay the village manager's travel and attendance at seminars and conferences. We added seminars and conferences, added seminars. Requested by the manager and get approved by the commission, consistent with the village budget, or is authorized separately by the village commission. Is there also a recognition that certain expenses of a non-personal nature, but job-related, if they are incurred, that we would agree to reimburse her, and those type of expenses are parking, transportation, admission for community events, and those type of matters. The actual, it would include what includes parking and transportation if she's using her own vehicle and it's within an area that's tri-county or closer. That would be part of her monthly vehicle allowance. So it needs to for something above the ordinary, and that's consistent with many managers and their contracts. Section 12, time off. Okay, this is the one where let me know if this is not the understanding. There's the 3 pre-scheduled vacations that are in the contract that all of you addressed. The original proffer from Sharon, as I saw it in actually the highlighted changes, was that she would take those unpaid. But the issue, as I understood it, and certainly understand it, is this is a significant amount of time off, and if she got it unpaid, she would still have other opportunities to take time off during that first year. There was a concern of making sure the manager was here more frequently than that. So the agreement was that she would get these pre-scheduled time off, and it would be reimbursed, in this example, from the personal time off that has accrued, and that personal time off is 24 days. If you did it, and this is one of the reasons why I thought this is what the intent was, if you did it with only vacation being the 12 days and the sick leave being 12 days, she would not have the time for, I think, over 2 years perhaps. But if that's what you intended, then we need to have that discussion. She did add as an additional day that she would get off. She gets paid holidays as all other employees plus her birthday. And that came up, as I understood, was approved by the commission. Yeah, okay, thank you, Commissioner. And we do have in there, though, if for whatever reason she takes this time and she leaves before, she would have to pay that time. And thank you for that.
Right now, she wants to compromise at 28 days, correct?
Yes, that was my next, right. There's an email that was sent to you. She asked for 30. Commission agreed to 24. I sent this back. She arrived back in town this weekend. I spoke to her directly, and she also emailed. She would like to settle on 28.
Okay, so that would be for from September 1st to September 1st.
To, yes, August 30.
Okay,
Wait,
then 29 days is what she's asking for already, for vacation days.
Commissioner Watts, let's let him go through the whole agreement and we'll discuss it. You're on section 4.
Yeah, I'm on section 12, sorry. So there's your 24 days that we're getting to. There is, as I understood this, and again, to take the input here, that of that time, if it wasn't used, the village has a choice of carrying that over to the next year or paying her out cash value for the unused amount of time. So that's something that I want to make sure that it's understood.
This is something we want to discuss.
No, it is, but I prefer to, can we just go through the whole agreement and then?
Yeah, we're very close to being done. There is a disability. If the manager becomes permanently disabled, you have the option of terminating this agreement subject to the severance pay requirements. And this is an interesting provision that apparently was agreed to, that if the manager received any disability payments from whatever source, that would be taken off our severance. We would do this anyway because of all full-time employees under FRS, but we just clarified that she would be in the senior management level, and she had originally, this talked about how we agreed to make all payments. I clarified it that we would make all payments that were required, and she's the mandated employee payments she would be making, and it would be deducted from her salary. And there's an agreement for life insurance to pay the sum equal to 100% of 1 year's salary, including any increases in her base salary. And she has, obviously, would designate the beneficiary. And other than the definition of day, which is just clerical, that is the proposed contract. There is a separate contract which has section 12, which simply does not, which is more closely aligned, or is aligned with the employee contract, which has the addresses sick leave and vacation time, and that time would be the same as provided to current employees.
Okay, all right, thank you. So what I'd like to do is now go through and have a discussion amongst ourselves as to go page by page and make sure that we're all on board with every section, and then that way we can keep the conversation focused. Was there any concern with page 1?
I just have one thing I think needs correction, and we could probably do this with just like correcting anything that needs to be scrivener's error. Or
Yeah, absolutely.
In the second line from the bottom, this is a section that talks about termination, and it refers to section 5.
Yeah, that was changed, I apologize. All those numbers.
Just on one and not on the other, maybe?
Actually, we sent over changes to Maria. I don't think Maria.
Sorry,
Yeah. Okay, so
it says, refers to that.
It does, yeah, yeah, 100% right.
Okay, all right, anything else? Page 2?
And those sections there have been changed too on C.
Any concern with page 2? No? Okay. Page 3?
Yeah, just one thing about the start date. Do we know if she's still planning to be available to start as of September 1st?
Well, the way the contract was written, or 2 weeks following the execution of the agreement, whichever is later.
Well, that's what I'm asking about. If she's available September 1st, I wonder if she would agree to reconsider this and just start on September 1st, even though it's not 2 weeks. You could pass this contract, and based on the understanding, if she agrees to that, we would just reflect that in the contract. Because she will be here approximately 7:15. I know. So I'm just saying that if she would be available, I would like to ask her to reconsider this, and I would like us to reconsider it and make it September 1st.
Okay, yeah.
If there's some reason that she can't act on this that fast, like she needs her own counsel and she needs extra days to do that, then it has to be the 2 weeks. But if she could be available to start on the 1st, I wish she would.
Okay, I agree with that. Yes?
Just one thing on first on section 3, exclusive employment and outside consulting teaching. There's the clause that such arrangements shall not commence before December 31st, 2017. We know from the resume of the application of the presumptive village manager that she's a silent partner in a company. And I don't know that she makes money from this company, but if she is, it won't be something that commences in December because it is in existence now.
I'm unaware of what her, is it a?
Like a motor plumbing or pipes company? So if the guy was coming in to bring my CV with it.
The prohibition is not whether, it's whether it's teaching consulting, or it does say or other business opportunities, but I think if she's like a silent partner where it's only an investment, it's probably not contrary to the intent of this commission. It's like any time that you're spending is how I've read that.
I think we should have that clarified when she gets here. Then one other, I have a problem with that the idea that at any time of the scheduled evaluations, the village commission will consider any potential increases in the village manager's salary and benefits and allowances. All right, so what if after the 180 days we have our evaluation, and so then the commission will decide to up her salary to $85,000? I think it should wait till the annual evaluation after a full year.
Or the commission may decide not to.
Yeah,
You know, so
Yeah.
that's up to, you know, the commission.
I know, but not in this commission.
Okay, any comments on page 3?
I think it says the commissioner can sign.
Okay, anything else on page 3, Commissioner Watts?
No, I'm sorry, my notes. Okay, yeah, I'm uncomfortable with the severance with this PTO. Is that in here? It's capped at 20 weeks starting, and then the unused, any unused PTO the person she gets if she leaves. All right, I think no. I think that it should be only accrual by month. And so that if she were to be hired in September, leave in November, she should not get all of the vacation days that were accrued during the year.
But you're talking about in her initial, for example, the initial few months of her employment? But isn't it, it's tiered right now?
Right now. Okay, so okay, so I'll save that for later time.
Okay, any other comments on page 3? No?
Except, I guess there's language to clean up depending on whether we go with PTO or vacation.
Correct. That's exactly right.
No.
Okay.
No, well, wait a minute, also on D, if she's terminated for just cause, then the person will get all unpaid salary and benefits earned, including accrued vacation and sick time, personal time off, as noted in section 12. So that means that actually, if the village manager is terminated for cause, she will get the entire year of PTOs. No?
Well, if you're terminated for just cause, it takes, you have no obligation to pay the amounts except for any, as it's written,
Yeah.
accrued and unpaid salary.
Yeah.
Benefits, right,
Yeah.
right.
Wait a minute. John, can you outline without, without cause and
so
for cause?
what this is really aimed towards, because remember this PTO is somewhat new, if the manager's been here for 1.5 years, okay, she would be getting somewhere 365 days, 5 weeks each year thereafter. Let's say she was entitled to 10 weeks of severance. If you terminate her for just cause, she doesn't get any severance. That's really what this is saying. And that's how contracts are written towards the severance. Typically, PTO is something that's considered accrued at the time you get it, and Commissioner Watts is right about that. But that's what it's angled towards.
It's aimed towards saying she doesn't get it? Because the way I read it,
No, you don't get any severance weeks, is what I'm saying. The way you're reading that is for PTO is correct, that she would get her PTO.
and all of it for a full year.
Right, we're gonna, depending on if you go PTO or not, we're taking out the accrued vacation and sick time. It's whether or not you go with PTO or, but you're right, that's,
Yeah.
and if you don't want that, that's for the
Yeah, I have
commission
a
to
problem.
decide. But that's something that was not changed
If
last time.
terminated for cause, the person will still get all of the money for personal time off, paid holidays, and vacation and sick time. Is that correct?
With the paid holidays are only what has already occurred, so if you terminated her during the last paycheck, it was Thanksgiving, she'd get those 2 holidays.
At the beginning of a fiscal year, she would have accrued all of her vacation PTO time, so she would be,
As written, you're correct.
As written, I think that is worth throwing money away.
Remember, we had this discussion with the first, with flashlights on that.
Yeah.
Right, and based on the discussion and direction of the commission, this is what she understood you agreed to. So you can change that, of course, but that's going to be something.
Right, the discussion was is that if you get terminated for cause, you do not get severance. That was always the.
You don't get severance, that's
Right.
correct.
But you get all of your vacations and paid holidays and all of that, all your PTO.
And just to clarify, if anybody else gets fired, they get their accrued vacation.
Has to be accrued.
Yeah, it says accrued.
If it's not accrued, you can't get what you haven't accrued.
Okay?
But you're not accruing it monthly, so they get it in 1
Yes.
month.
Yes,
That's
you
your
get
problem.
one month,
That's your problem.
That's the problem, and I think that we should change the employee handbook.
It was, except for the first year, remember we had this discussion?
Yeah.
First year, you're accruing it
Yeah.
Month by month.
Yeah.
month by month. After the first year, the majority of the commission said to follow the way it is for the rest of the employees, that they accrue the whole lump sum each year,
October
instead of it continuing month by month.
So,
We were overruled by the majority of the commission.
yeah, I just think it's a mistake. In some instances, we're not following the employee handbook for this village manager contract, but then we say we will follow it for this instance. And if the manager is here for a year, she could just wait, he or she could wait for 1 month or 3 weeks after that year, and then walk away with all of the PTO, even if fired for just cause.
Okay, so we're going to get to that point. Let's put that issue on hold, because that's going to come up later in the discussion. So let's just go through the other points and get everything out of the way. I think that's going to be the primary discussion. Okay, page 4. Anything on page
Yes.
4?
Yeah, well, we changed it to 30 days, but we also in section 7, caught the clause, failure to comply with the 60 would be 30-day written notice requirement, or failure to obtain an agreement of the commission to an earlier termination notice requirement, and 30 days or less, not approved by the village commission, shall result in forfeiture of 50% of the right to all severance and accruals identified in this section. I think we should keep that.
I think it says severance accruals, and when someone resigns from their job, they don't receive severance. So
Right.
it didn't apply.
All right.
Anything else?
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Page 5.
Well, I just think we have to deal with the fact that the number of days, the way I tally them, for pre-scheduled vacations is 21 days.
Are you counting Saturdays and Sundays and holidays?
Oh, shoot, yes, you got me.
Because I counted 19.
Okay.
19 working days.
Okay.
19, okay.
All right, so on that point then, let's start on section 12A with the pre-scheduled vacations. So the consensus, just to make sure that John accurately got the consensus, is that these would be counted towards PTO and not be unpaid. Is that everyone's agreement? Is there a discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember
I think it's better to see a drawdown of that account rather than,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
But if I may clarify, these are at 16, okay? She starts in September. Is she accruing by month?
We haven't talked about that yet.
So just give it consideration. If it was September, October, November, December, she would only have 4 days. Okay, so only 4 out of those 19 would be paid.
No, remember, our discussion, what I recall, was that she's accumulating them going along,
Month to month.
month to month.
So when we reach these,
That's, okay, that's not what my understanding was, and that's why section D on page 6 says she gets 24 days. The way it's written is different than that.
But the total is 24 days for this, the first year she's accumulating it.
according to this paragraph we're moving up to.
All right,
I'm happy to change it, but
So just understand, if you do month by month, there will only be 4 days available to pay against these whatever. Okay, just want to clarify that.
All right, so top of page 6, manager's birthday, any issues? Subsection C, will not accrue any other leave other than PTO, so we're doing away with the sick time, vacation leave distinction. Okay? Commissioner Watt?
I don't like that. I think the distinction should be there. If you're sick, you're sick. It's not just personal
Right,
time.
but I think was the majority consensus last time. I just want to make sure, because it was, circumstances were difficult last time, being in the dark and not having it recorded. That's the consensus, correct?
So, yeah, because having seen how, when you have the split vacation and sick leave, they are treated differently, they carry over differently, and it became subject to interpretation. I think it's better to have it as one thing, and it's used for either way. It's probably even better for budgeting purposes, and I particularly like that you either use it or the commission has to decide whether you get to carry it over or not.
Right, yeah, I think that was the majority consensus.
Right, because PTO is personal time off. So
Right.
so it's personal time off, whether you're sick, vacation, whatever, but it's personal time.
Okay, and Commissioner Anderson, that was your understanding, correct? That we're-
Yes.
Okay. All right, so then I think one of the major sticking points or questions is subsection D, as to whether it's accrued beginning of the year for a period of, for a total of 24 days, or whether it's accrued month to month. Questions, comments on that?
Yeah, we had a lot of discussion on that, and, you know, my understanding was is the first year of employment, it was accrued month to month, that she could take her, the way it's written right now, 24 days of PTO, she could take as many of those 24 days whenever she wants to, but she wouldn't accrue all of those until the full year went through. So if she left before she reached the 24 days of accrual, but she used up all 24, she would need to be paying the village back of the number of days that she had accrued to.
So just so I understand what you're saying is that they wouldn't technically or legally accrue until the end of the year, but she can use the full 24
No, they'd
throughout
be
the year?
accruing by month by month.
Okay, they're accruing month to month, but that she can use the full 24
Yes,
from day one.
yes, yes.
And John, is that the way this is written?
No, the way it's written, and again, this is the best I could piece together with Maria and Andrew, was that when it was PTO anyway, this was the direction they understood, that the village manager would actually on October 1st get her 24 days. That's easily changeable, that wasn't the intent.
October 21st, 2016.
October 1st, annually on each year, it would, and I know,
So I thought that this thing was sort of monthly the first year.
That's correct.
the vacation and sick leave was,
Uh-huh.
but this was not based on my conversation. I wasn't here and there was no tape, so that wasn't the case. We easily can change that if you want.
But that wouldn't, if that was the case, that wouldn't be consistent with what we decided on the pre-planned vacations, correct?
Well, what would happen would be, and it is a little bit consistent, because if she doesn't have the time, you say that she has to pay it back. So if it's 19 days and she gets 20, technically.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with what Commissioner Anderson is saying. I think that was what we had discussed, but I'd like to hear from
Okay.
Commissioner Ross and Commissioner Jones.
So if she gets 28 days, and then they will accrue at 2.25 days a month or so, something like that?
Yeah, they could, whatever the math is, yeah.
Yeah.
And although she's going to begin before October 1st, which is the date when every other employee gets their bank of sick and vacation days, she's not going to accrue anything for the first couple of weeks that she's here until fiscal year starts.
As of right now, correct. Or it'd be 2.33 apparently. So we could, if you wanted to do it monthly, we could start with September 1st. She, 16, she accrues 2.33 days, or two days, or if you want 24, 28.
And then in 17, when hopefully we have our employee policy switched over to PTO as well, everybody will be on the same track.
If that's what we do, absolutely. Yeah.
But still, I come from a PTO background. That your first anniversary year, you get a lump sum.
Right.
you get 80 hours in your bank after that first year. So the first year you're getting month to month. At your first anniversary, you get a lump sum, and then you continue to accrue month by month.
You get a lump sum plus accrual month to month?
Yeah.
That's the policy that I had.
Can you repeat what you said, because I don't understand?
Yeah, like, it seems like you would get a lot more if you like that with it.
It was the policy that I had, but
But
I
I just don't understand what you said.
don't have it in front of me. So the chatter over here, I really can't concentrate, guys, I swear I can't. So, the first year of the policy I had was a smaller number, month to month, okay? So you're kind of like in your probationary. Then came your first anniversary year, you get a lump given to you. Hey, thank you for passing your probation. It was kind of like, when you pass that first year, you get those additional hours for that first year that you're given. In this case, 28 days. And then you continue to accrue month to month, and as your years of service go, what you get month to month is greater. I was accruing 4 days a month, whereas a new person was only accruing 1 day a month. But whatever policy you set here, you have to remember, you have to set it for the first year's month to month, and at the anniversary, you either continue month to month, or you do a lump sum every year. So you gotta,
So you don't provide a lump sum for the previous year for the first year's work.
it's just whatever policy you set.
So my understanding is, like, on the way you had it, each year you actually were getting more, in theory, vacation and sick time each year.
PTO, it's called paid time off.
Okay.
There was no,
Yeah, okay, but you had, so the number would increase each year.
based on your seniority,
Right.
correct?
Okay, because that's not what,
That's right,
No,
you
it's
have
not.
to have a
We're
PTO
saying-
policy to go with it.
right.
So I think it has to be clear, you have to set something down for this first year,
Right,
because to set that policy will be,
right.
a big endeavor for us.
Maybe we should do something for the first year and then wait for the next commission.
Well, if we have it where every year, I mean, first of all, we're going to be discussing, right now, this contract is for 24 PTO days. She says she'll be fine with 28, so whatever that number may be, whatever it is what she decides. Well, I don't see a problem of letting that accumulate for each year, let it accumulate up to that number. So if whenever the person happens to leave, we're not obligated for that full number. We're obligated for whatever they've accumulated. If they leave 6 months after when they started accumulating, we only owe them for half that number. And if they have to take more time off than they had accumulated, then they have to pay the village back for the overage.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I want to hear comments on this side. Commissioner Jonas?
Yeah, I think there really are two real issues here. One of them is essentially whether the work gets done. And I think that there is some feeling not to permit or provide so much time off that the work wouldn't get done. And I'm not really concerned about that because, I mean, we were somewhat careful to hire Sharon, and one of the things that I think appealed to all of us is that she frankly has a fairly contained work ethic. I mean, she generally kind of works too much, if anything. So I'm really not concerned about providing time off for her as if that was going to mean that maybe she'd be lazy or maybe she wouldn't care or maybe the work would get done. So in that sense, I really don't care. Whatever she wants is fine. On the other hand, and the other real issue is that the more we provide in the long run, the more it will cost us when we have to imagine the inevitability that she will leave for one reason or another. And I'm sure there's some feeling of not wanting to write a big check on that day. And all I can really say about that is, personally, I'm not really much of a proponent of accruing PTO and benefits like that and having to write big checks. I sort of feel like if somebody is in the employ of a company or a place, if they don't feel well and they feel like they should stay home, then they should stay home. And if they want to take a vacation, they should take a vacation. And all of that should just reset every year. And there's nothing that should carry over. If they don't need a vacation or they don't get sick, well, good for them and good for us, and we just keep going on. But I know that I'm outvoted by the personnel manual and by general sentiment, so I can't really say, I don't think we should provide this, but that's how I feel.
Okay, I mean, we've addressed the carryover in the next paragraph. I guess what I don't think we should do is renegotiate what we've already had. What I'm trying to do is just determine what the intent was, or what we decided at the last meeting, and make sure that this language reflects that, and not to rehash and to renegotiate everything.
Yeah, I think this is what we said and what we agreed to.
What is what we said?
Everything so far. I mean, except for the very minor issues we've talked about. But I think that this is the spirit of what we intended to agree to last time we talked about this.
The way the contract reads, it says annually on October 1st of each year. That's when the hours are credited, or the days were credited. And then when we turn back to the time off, section 12, that talks about her vacations, the planned vacations, we say if she hasn't earned them, if she leaves and she hasn't earned them, she's required to send it back to reimbursement, right?
Yeah.
It seems like we're adequately covered so that in the first year, at least, there isn't, she doesn't earn her vacation and just take off on this. That's what the concern is.
Well, what the concern, I think, is this, what we're saying for the first year, it ought to be for that same system for every single year.
It's the same system after the first year.
That the first year has the same system moving forward. That you're accumulating it. Not, you don't get your PTO as a big lump sum. You accumulate it during each year.
So essentially, if the manager leaves, then it would be prorated to what she accumulated.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. And if the manager happens to use up more PTO than it has been accumulated, the difference. Right.
No, I agree with that.
Okay, could that change to indicate that? Because I think we need to change that. I think once burned, twice shy. And I think we lost a lot of money last time because we just gave, a person could work for half a year to get the entire year of PTOs. There's also the issue of with this blending of making PTO rather than vacation time and sick leave. What happens if the person has taken all his or her vacation time and then really gets sick?
That's the PTO is personal time off.
It'll be unpaid.
Okay.
It'll be unpaid.
Mr. Attorney, do you understand what
Well, I don't think you've decided. I don't think you've decided. So, right, I just want to, the two options that I see it is either it accrues October 1st, or it accrues monthly at a 2 day per month on October 1st, she gets 2 days every month thereafter, 2 days, or 2.33 days is really her request, because that equals 28 days.
And assuming that the person is going to stay the year, that if the person schedules vacation time in the course of the year, if she or he can take it, that if the person left, those days would be over.
So,
If they're not accrued, but if they're accrued, right. So that to me, Mayor, is do you want October 1st or 24 or 28 days, which also needs to be decided, or somewhere, some other time, and or, well, that's one thing that needs to be decided. And then secondly, do they all accrue October 1st, or do they accrue on a monthly basis, equal?
Right, and what Commissioner Anderson said is they accrue on a monthly basis.
monthly, the allotted vacation, the allotted PTO time is accrued monthly.
Right,
But the commission agrees to.
Okay, so are we in agreement with that?
I make a motion that we accept her compromise offer of 28 days.
Second.
28 days, and does that include a birthday?
That's separate.
It doesn't, it doesn't include the 11 holidays?
No. That's,
So it's 28. You know, the Miami-Dade, Human Resources for Miami-Dade County gives 2 weeks of annual leave, so that would be 10 days. And then up to 13 days holidays, but the holidays that they give are 7 holidays. So it would be 22 days, and plus the 7 would be 28. We're giving her 28 days, plus 11 paid vacation days, and a birthday.
And what's the concern about that?
Are you kidding me?
It's not a lot of time off. We take it.
Our employees receive
Because the years of service, vacation plus holidays.
We offered 24,
you were 24.
compromised at 28. I think that it's fair to meet the compromise.
And because your holidays that all the employees get, the city is closed. So I mean, you know, so to go ahead and have a person to be able to use their full PTO, if they want to use for vacations, you can't throw holidays in the middle of it. Except for like, they have to take it over, paid to take a holiday, then it's one day that they get. So because holidays were closed, city's closed. So actually the amount of PTO they're getting, you don't want to mix that up, that's different than the holidays. That's not holidays, that's, holidays are
But
holidays.
it's basic time off, and work still has to be done, even though the place is closed.
You're right, but it's closed.
So is that the concern, Barbara, that the work won't get done because she'll be off that day?
I'm just saying.
Well, I told you what I think are the two real or rational resistances that we have about this. I'll tell you what I think the irrational resistance is, but it's natural, it's common, but it's irrational. And that is, we just resent providing for somebody and paying our money to let somebody have a day off. It's a common feeling, but I think we have to get over it.
Okay, so Commissioner Anderson, you were comfortable with the
With the compromise of 28 days, yes.
Would you give a second?
I
So
don't
we've
need,
already
Oh,
got
sorry.
a motion and a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed?
Okay, so that's on that issue, and do we need a separate motion on?
For the accrual.
The accrual. Is there a motion on that?
I make a motion that the PTO is accrued monthly from year to year.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I've got that, that's very clear.
5-0?
Yes.
That's very clear, and she's, by the way, I texted her because she was driving, and she can't start September 1st, so I wanted to give you that update. Cannot, she has to give her 2 weeks, she said. Should we start at October 1st? The accrual?
I think it's cleaner that way. I mean, you know,
Okay, that sounds like a compromise anyway, okay. All right, thank you, I have clear direction.
But, and that one item needs to go back to her, because that's not how this was written.
That's correct, but hopefully that won't be.
Yeah, no, I understand. Okay.
So that accrual is going to be not only in the first year, but
Going
every
Every
forward,
year.
same every year. Okay,
Yeah.
And
what other,
will it be clear that if the village manager leaves, then the only
Is what
payment
they-
she'll get is what those...
what they approved?
I do have a question on E.
Is there a carryover?
That's what we're going to get to. That's where I have a question on E.
Okay, so page 6, subsection E. Commissioner Henderson, go ahead.
Okay, the way it works right now is worded. On or before September 30th of each year, the village commission may elect to either carry over into the next fiscal year any unused PTO leave or make payment to the village manager for the cash value of the same at the manager's salary in effect on September 30th of that year. I'm concerned with this because, first of all, if the manager doesn't use up all their PTO, we pay that manager a salary for that full year. And then to turn around and pay the salary, could pay the salary, a bonus to that person of the unused part, which I think is, I think that's just too much. Now, carrying it over to the second year, I can understand there's times that things happen that you can't use every bit of your PTO within that year, but I'd like to go ahead and have, whether it's 30 days, 90 days, whatever the commission decides, that they have to use it or lose it, of what they carried over.
So also, I think, I agree with that. I think though too, how can we budget for this? You know, put it into the budget to know that we perhaps we're going to have to pay out unused PTO.
And so there's two issues, whether to do the payout, but also what Commissioner Anderson just raised, which is the cap, right?
Correct. Well, first of all, I'm against the payout. But to be fair to everybody, because, you know, things happen. Sometimes, you know, the manager may have planned to take a vacation near the end of the year, and we had a disaster here, and the manager felt it was more important to do the job than to be gone. They should be able to carry it over to the next year, but have to use it within X amount of days, whatever the commission decides. It doesn't mean in the contract, not decide at that point. We need to have it in the contract. And I don't see a problem saying, let's say, within 3 months, it's got to be cleared out, or they lose it.
Okay. Vice Mayor Ross.
I think the way the Section E is designed, it envisions a conversation between the manager and the commission. So she may come in and say, I wasn't able to take those 5 days, but I have a vacation planned in February. And it's also protected or safeguarded by it always being at the commission's option. I have some doubt. I don't know, I'm not sure whether that's actually permissible under one clause. I know at my office, it's the employee who gets to decide whether to roll over or take it, not the employer, so I have my doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a contract that can be negotiated, I believe, but I think what this does do is envision that conversation, because there are things like a hurricane that could happen, and there are the time's not used to enable that person not to feel that then they've lost their time because they were here for August, September hurricane.
So I'm comfortable the way it's written because it ultimately, the way it's stated here, it's the commission's decision and it allows for flexibility.
Okay, and what are your thoughts about capping the amount that can be carried over?
I hope that our manager takes enough time so that she's well rested and continues to do a good job for us. So I don't really envision having a lot of carryover, a lot of carryover days to deal with.
Okay.
But this requires us either to carry it over or pay for it.
That's what it has written, that's correct. Yeah.
Well, Commissioner Ross suggested that there might be some legal issues about not getting a payout. Was that personnel? I wasn't quite understanding it.
I think she's raising that in because of in a large organization where there is an individual, that there may be some issues there. But I don't think the way we're moving forward is not going to reflect that.
No, like I said, I'd like to have that payout moved completely stricken from there. And like I said before, to allow a carryover, but it had to be used within a certain period of time. So it gives the option that it can be carried over because if something happened, which is okay, but you have a cutoff date to use it. And I believe 90 days, 3 months gives a lot of leeway to be able to use that.
I'd like to add something, that perhaps more leeway could be given if it were phrased that within 3 months, not either taken or arranged, the planned vacation. So, but again, to cut the payout.
Well, see, this is only the carryover, because you also has the full amount of the PTO that you're accruing throughout all this time, too. This is just for the carryover. Vice Mayor Ross, did you have something?
I'm fine with the way it's written.
Okay.
The one issue about the carryover that does change, as I think about it, if you're going to do monthly, is it, if you're given the days up front, which we decide not to do, and I understand that, but if you're going to do it monthly, you're going to have a 2.3 day accrual on September 1st, that technically would need to be used October 1st. That may be something something, well, you do want flexibility in that accrual,
Well,
or in that,
And the other side, it may have already been used earlier and to pay back. So, I mean, it could go either way, and you're correct, Mr. Attorney. I make a motion to go ahead and remove the, where we be paying for any unused PTO and allow a carryover, but it has to be completely used within 90 days of the carryover.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Anderson, second by Commissioner Jonas. All in favor?
Aye.
Those
90
three,
days.
3 yeses or 4 yeses?
4 yeses,
And lost no.
4 to 1. Okay. All right, any other issues? I think we've covered everything, correct?
Yeah, so the only changes is to the time off that we discussed.
The only changes is the time off, you mean the 28th?
I'm saying the only changes to the proposed PTO contract. Well, you discussed some other things, unless check with Maria, but it's section 12. The 28 days, instead of 24 days, 28 days, instead of a full accrual on October 1st, a monthly accrual of 2.33 starting October 1st, and that carryover of any time for the previous year for PTO there's 90 days after the year to complete any expenditure or carryover of PTO.
Correct. Correct.
Language is straight. Or make payment, you want to remove the make payment portion.
Yes. Yes.
That's the motion.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so you have
I do.
everything you need.
I do.
Okay.
So do we need a motion to
Approve the contract.
resolution?
A motion to approve the resolution, which approves the contract as amended.
I make that motion.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion by Vice Mayor Ross, second by Commissioner Jonas.
Take a break.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4 to 1.
Barbara, you would dissent to vote? I had asked if you would reconsider it, take into consideration that this is embarking in a relationship with our new village manager, and you asked you to reconsider that.
What's that? Okay, all right, so we will take a break and reconvene for the workshop.
Well, do we
Or
have
we
a
have
motion to adjourn this meeting?
Okay.